Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to No. 1 Daily Bitcoin Pod, Bitcoin pumping back in the green. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis, as well as California introduces Bitcoin rights and amended digital assets bill. Also major news, MicroStrategy buys the Bitcoin dip with a $1.9 billion purchase, scooping up an additional 22,000 in BTC. Also, Marathon Holdings plans huge $2 billion stock offering to buy more Bitcoin. That's another incoming $2 billion Bitcoin purchase. Also, Japanese firm Metaplanet issues $13.3 million in bonds to buy more Bitcoin. Can you see the theme of the day? Also, Trump's son backs new Bitcoin mining venture with Hut 8. Max Kaiser responded to this news. This is good news for American Bitcoin miners, but the investment itself will underperform both Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. So yeah, here we go. If you're new to the channel, important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe. We're the No. 1 Daily Bitcoin Pod. Then ring the bell. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto newsletters every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode number 1949. Let me make sure that's accurate. Yep, 1949. I'm your host, JV, and it's March 31st, 2025. It's the final day of the month. Massive breaking news just in right before I hit the live button, which is shaking things up right now, and I'll touch upon it right now. We'll dive a little deeper into it a little later in the stream. But Bitcoin Policy Institute just released a framework for the United States of America to buy $200 billion worth of Bitcoin using Bitbonds, which would ideally mean at today's current prices, that's 2.22 million Bitcoin being acquired for the United States of America. We also have featured breaking news today of the Trump family creating America Mining, the biggest Bitcoin mining facility. It's going to be huge. So you already know. But anyways, let's kick it off with our market watch. As you can see here, Coin360 pretty low bitty back on the rip, trading above 83,500. Ether back in the green. BNB, Solana, Cardano, Tron all pumping and in the green. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. You can see we're sitting at a 2.69 trillion market cap. The Bitcoin market cap 1.656 trillion, and we got roughly 78 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, up 60% on the day. And the Bitcoin dominance 61.5%, with the Ether dominance at 8.3%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. Toncoin up 8.5%, followed by Hype, followed by Flare. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. Holla at your motherfucking boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles. As you can see for the daily, bulk of the market back in the green, I'd say 70-30 green over red. As far as the week is concerned, unfortunately, 90-10 red over green. And zooming out on the monthly, very similar, 90-10 red over green, Rec City overall for the shit coins. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're 34 in fear, yesterday at 32, last week at 45, and last month at 20 in the extreme fear. And checking out the time chain calendar. We have 159,741 blocks to the next halving in 2028. Currently on block number 890,259. And you currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 1,198 sats. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, pick up some Bitcoin caps. From my man Sergio, of course, over at bitcoincaps.net. And if you don't know, one day you're going to know. I'm telling you. And here's some bonuses for you guys. Here's a little bonus action, Jackson satisfaction. As you can see here, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink warns the dollar is at a risk of losing the world reserve currency status to Bitcoin. The question proposed, can Bitcoin eat away at the U.S. dollar's reserve status? The U.S. has benefited from the dollar serving as the world's reserve currency for decades, but that's not guaranteed to last forever. The national debt has grown at 3 times the pace of the GDP since the Times Square debt clock started ticking in 1989. This year, the interest payments will surpass $952 billion, exceeding defense spending, and by 2030, mandatory government spending and debt services will consume all federal revenue, creating a permanent deficit. If the U.S. doesn't get its debt under control, its deficits keep ballooning. America risks losing that position to digital assets like Bitcoin. Say that again. And Max Kaiser also says Larry Fink is the employee of the month. I agree. Now, also major news, report projects 25% of the S&P 500 companies will follow strategy and start buying Bitcoin. Could you imagine 25% of the publicly traded companies all putting the pretty little bitty on the balance sheet? I sure can. And they have 2.6 trillion in cash. That's bigger than the current Bitcoin market cap. Bring it. So massive news, and we're just getting started. But anyways, next up, let's do some live technical analysis, as I promised y'all. Pulling up some of the charts as the pretty little bitties back on the rip. Here's the 10-minute via Coinbase, via TradingView. We do have a bull target on the screen. The bulls say 87.8 in play, which is approximately a 4,000 jump from the current price action here on the 10-minute chart, which we're looking at. And zooming it out, we'll move our way backwards here. Here's the 1 hour falling wedge currently, but we are jumping. We do have a target in the red here on the hourly, sitting at 87.5, and we also have a bear scenario target sitting at 79 G's, baby. And we did touch 81 yesterday, just FYI. And zooming out to the 4 hour, the 4 hour chart says it's going up forever, JB. Rising wedgie, two bull targets, one in the teal, sitting at 113.7, which would take us back to price discovery. Current all-time highs 109.3 achieved on Inauguration Day back in January. We're long overdue for a rip. And the red bull target 105.5, and the bear scenario for the bears 79.370. And zooming out from there, we take a look at a daily. And as you can see on the daily, we're finally forming a green candle for today. Yesterday, the day before, and the day before that, big red candles, unfortunately. Rising wedge formation sensation, followed by the falling wedgie. And we have two bull targets, one in the red at 113, and one just north of 113.7. And two bear scenarios, one at 68.699, and super bear sitting at 49. And zooming out from there, here's the weekly. And we did get a weekly close yesterday. Obviously, you can see that red candle, unfortunately. And the week prior was green. The week prior to that was green. Then we had a mega red dump, as you can see in the big candle. But we still, the silver lining, we still have the cup and handle target in place, sitting at 124,000. I speculate once we can recapture price discovery above 109.3, the next leg up, in my opinion, will probably be somewhere between 120 and 130,000. So maybe we strike the cup and handle target we've been looking at for so many months. It's about time, long overdue, in my opinion. And zooming out on the monthly. We do get a monthly close here in a few hours for the month of March, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be in the red, but it's an itty-bitty red candle. We didn't have much action, obviously, for this month, and February was a big red candle close. Unfortunately, January was in the green, December was in the red, but barely, and November was the most bullish Godzilla candle we have seen printed since the inception of the Genesis block. We just did a little bit of TA. Now let's dive into the breaking news out of California. California knows how to party. California introduces Bitcoin rights and amended digital asset bill. That's right. California lawmaker has added Bitcoin and crypto investor protections to a February introduced money transmission bill aimed at securing crypto self-custody rights for the United States' nearly 40 million residents. California's Assembly Bill 1052 was introduced as the Money Transmission Act on February 20th of 2025 and was amended by Democrat and Banking and Finance Committee Chair Alvino Valencia on March 28th to include several Bitcoin and crypto-related investor protections. The amendments removed the term Money Transmission Act, renaming the legislation to digital assets. California often sets the national blueprint for policy, and if the Bitcoin rights passes here, it can pass anywhere, according to the Satoshi Action Fund CEO Dennis Porter, who shared in a statement just yesterday. Once passed, this legislation will guarantee nearly 40 million Californians the right to self-custody their digital assets without fear of discrimination. And here's the official announcement from the Satoshi Action Fund. Shout out Dennis Porter. The bill would also deem the use of digital financial asset as a valid and legal form of payment in private transactions and would prohibit public entities from restricting or taxing digital assets solely based on their use as payment. The bill would also expand the scope of California's Political Reform Act of 1974 to prohibit a public official from issuing, sponsoring or promoting a digital asset, security, or commodity. Quoting the bill here, a public office shall not engage in any transaction or conduct related to a digital asset that creates a conflict of interest with their public duties. Now, AB 1052 is now in the desk process, meaning the bill has been formally introduced and is awaiting the first reading. A total of 99 merchants currently accept Bitcoin payments in California, according to the Bitcoin maps. Meanwhile, Ripple Labs, Solana Labs, and Kraken are amongst the largest crypto firms based in California. And how many of you who watch the stream are based in Cali? Do let me know. For those that don't know, I actually spent 5 years in a little Dutch town called Solvang. Back when I was younger, I moved there from New York as a kid. I think it was 4th grade, and fantastic memories. But I'd been to California quite a few times since then, and unfortunately, their government straight up is pathetic, but I digress. A stablecoin related bill was also introduced in California on February 2nd, 2025, which aims to provide more clarity over stablecoin collateral requirements, liquidation processes, redemption and settlement mechanisms, retirements, and security audits. And according to the Bitcoin law, 95 Bitcoin related bills or measures have been introduced to the state level in 35 states, including 36 Bitcoin reserve bills, which are alive and kicking and breathing. The Texas Senate passed the Bitcoin strategic bill in a 25-5 vote March 6, while Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear signed a Bitcoin rights bill into law on March 24th. And earlier this month, our POTUS Trumpster signed an executive order creating the strategic Bitcoin reserve and a digital asset stockpile for the shitcoins, both of which will initially use cryptocurrency forfeited in government criminal cases. Criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance. Let's get right into the latest with the Giga Chad. Michael Saylor buying that motherfucking dip, especially after that infamous freeze frame. MicroStrategy buys the Bitcoin dip with a $1.9 billion purchase. You can see announced here from the Giga Chad himself. MicroStrategy has acquired 22,048 BTC for $1.92 billion at 86,969 per Bitcoin and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 11% year-to-date 2025. As of March 30th, 2025, Strategy holds 528,185 BTC, acquired for $35.63 billion at 67,458 on average per Bitcoin. And Max Kaiser responded, "This is the way." Damn straight. This is the way, folks. But anyways, let's dive in a little deeper. Saylor Strategy bought nearly $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, taking advantage of the recent price dip. And who called it? He posted the Saylor tracker. What I say in yesterday's show would not be surprised if he makes another $1 billion purchase. And lo and behold, he under promise, over deliver, $1.9 billion acquisition, despite the growing market concerns tied to the POTUS's upcoming tariff announcement, which is supposed to be taking place Wednesday in a couple of days. Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, acquired 22,048 of the biddy at an average price of $86,969 per biddy. The company now holds 528,000 Bitcoin, acquired for $35 billion at an average price of $67,500 per biddy, according to Saylor, the one and only. Strategy is the world's largest corporate Bitcoin hodler of the world, surpassing 500,000 Bitcoin holdings, a milestone as of March 24th, last week. Days after Saylor hinted at an upcoming Bitcoin buy, as the company announced the pricing of its latest tranche of preferred stock on March 21st. The firm is currently up over 21% on the Bitcoin holdings, with an unrealized profit of $7.7 billion. Again, unrealized profit currently $7.7 billion. Strategy's near $2 billion dip buy comes despite investor concerns related to Trump's upcoming tariff announcement, April 2nd, again this Wednesday, which may set the tone for the Bitcoin price trajectory throughout the rest of the month. The April 2nd announcement is expected to detail reciprocal trade tariffs targeting the U.S. trading partners, a development that may increase inflation-related concerns and limit demand for the risk assets, such as the pre-low biddy going up forever Laura. Quoting him here, "This sell-off isn't the end of the bull run, it's a healthy reset," according to Andrei Grashev, managing partner of DFF Labs. He says markets overreact to tariffs and macro headlines, but long-term fundamentals have not changed. And despite never selling any Bitcoin, Strategy may have to pay taxes on unrealized gains of over $7.7 billion. Now, what world are we living in where there's a tax liability on unrealized gains? Please explain that one to me. Which had previously soared to $19 billion at the end of January. One of the biggest benefits of hodling is not having to pay taxes, hence its unrealized gains. And if they're going to enforce unrealized gains tax. What about unrealized losses? Can we claim those? Damn you, tax collector. Don't make me unleash my hounds, such as the Nippinator. He'll come for you. The firm may have to pay federal income taxes on its unrealized gains according to the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. Trump, can we fix this bullshit? There should be no taxes on unrealized gains because there's no motherfucking profit. You idiots. The act established a corporate alternative minimum tax under which Strategy would qualify. It must have been the Dems with the Biden administration. Who else would propose a 15% tax on unrealized gains? Unacceptable, IRS. Do better. All right. We discussed the 1.9 billion buy. Now let's discuss the $2 billion buy. And we'll just continue discussing multi-billion-dollar buys until there's no more Bitcoin left on the planet. That's what you want. You got it. Marathon Holdings plans a huge $2 billion stock offering to buy more of the pretty little bitty. That's right, pretty little bitty. Bitcoin miner Marathon Digital is looking to sell up to $2 billion in stock to buy more Bitcoin as part of the plan. That bears a resemblance. Yeah, it's the Sailor put, of course. Marathon Holdings, formerly Marathon Digital, said on March 28th, Form 8K, that the prospectus filed with the SEC that is entered into the at-the-market agreement with investment giants, including Cantor Fitzgerald and Barclays, for them to sell up to $2 billion worth of its stock from time to time. We currently intend to use the net proceeds from this offering for general corporate purposes, including the acquisition of Bitcoin and for working capital. Marathon's move copies a tactic made by the famous Bitcoin bull Mikey Sailor. Mikey the Sailor Man. Toot toot. The executive chair of the largest corporate Bitcoin holder, Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, which has used a variety of market offerings, including stock sales, to amass. Now, they just made another $22 billion purchase, so even more than listed here. I think closer to 522,000 BTC. Marathon falls just behind Strategy with the second largest holdings by a public company with 46,374 BTC. So Michael Saylor's purchase he just made is half the entire stash of what they currently have, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's worth close to $4 billion going to the Bitvo data. And in July, the company's CEO, Fred Thiel, said it was going full hodl and wouldn't sell any of the Bitcoin it mined to fund the operations, which is typical for crypto miners, and would purchase more of the crypto to keep in reserve. And the Bitcoin miners' planned stock sale follows a similar offering made early last year, offering up to $1.5 billion worth of the shares. It also issued a $1 billion of zero coupon convertible senior notes in November, with plans to use most of the proceeds to buy Bitcoin. Now, Google Finance shows Marathon closed March 28 trading day down 8.5% at $12.47, following on from crypto mining stocks being rattled the day earlier with reposts of Microsoft abandoning plans to invest in new data centers in the US and Europe. All I know is this: Microsoft, I despise that company because it was founded by one of the lizard folk himself, Bill Gates. And anything Bill Gates touches, I am not a fan of. So that's why I also hate Xbox. I hate Xbox. I will never use an Xbox because Microsoft is behind it and Bill Gates is pure evil, and I don't like that man. If you don't know, now you know. Marathon shares have fallen another 4.6% to $11.89 in overnight trading on March 30th, according to Robinhood. Bitcoin is trading above 82,000, actually now above 83.5, back on the rise. Let her rip, Tater Chip, a wise man once said. Now let's discuss the Japanese version of Strategy, which is also following in the Sailor put. You can notice the theme of the day. And then we'll dive into the breaking news of the Trump family starting America mining with the goal to become the world's largest Bitcoin miner. Remember when Trump gave that speech in Nashville, he promised that America would become the Bitcoin mining hub of the world? Well, he's following through with those plans. So big news, and then even more big news with the Bit bonds. So lots to still share. So if you're just joining us, be sure to repost the stream, spread the word as we continue to orange pill the masses. Japanese firm Metaplanet issues $13.3 million in bonds to buy more of the bitty. That's right, the Japanese firm, following the Sailor put, by focusing on accumulating the pretty little bitty, issue 2 billion Japanese yen, which is 13.3 million USD of bonds to buy more of the bitty. Dump your bonds, buy the bitty. And according to a March 31st filing, Metaplanet issued the zero interest bonds by allocating them via its ENVO or EVO fund to fuel its Bitcoin purchases. Investors will be allowed to redeem the newly issued securities at full face value September 30th. The firm's CEO, Simon Girovich, wrote on X that the company was taking advantage of the recent downturn of the Bitcoin price. The announcement comes as Bitcoin changed hands for about 82,000 at that time, down 25% from the all-time high, which is currently 109.3, which was achieved back in January. Metaplanet is Asia's top corporate Bitcoin holder and the 10th in the entire world, according to the Bitcoin Treasury's data. And currently, the firm owns 3,200 Bitcoin worth about $1.23 billion. Metaplanet is often called Asia's MicroStrategy, as its corporate plan closely mirrors that of Strategy, the US-based market intelligence firm that shifted its primary focus to accumulating the pre-low biddy. And Metaplanet's US-based older brother is a top corporate Bitcoin holder with over 500,000 of the Bitcoin, worth nearly $82 billion, more than 2% of the 21 million Bitcoin supply. Now, earlier in the month, Metaplanet purchased 150 of the biddy, chipping away at its objective, accumulating 21,000 Bitcoin by the end of next year, and their goal is to have over 10,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025. Also this month, Metaplanet started exploring a potential U.S. listing as the company acquired another 156 BTC. Quoting them here, "We're considering the best way to make Metaplanet shares more accessible to investors around the world. And if it did become accessible worldwide, I would only see it continue to blow up because of the Bitcoin strategy." Now, Metaplanet is making powerful friends in the U.S. political landscape. Earlier in the month, the company appointed U.S. President Trump's son, Eric Trumpster, to the newly established Strategic Board of Advisors to further Metaplanet's mission to become the global leader of the Bitcoin economy. Company representatives shared the following. "Eric Trump brings a wealth of experience in real estate, finance, brand development, strategic business growth, and has become a leading voice and advocate of the digital asset adoption worldwide." All right, fam, now for our feature story of the day. Trump's son backs new Bitcoin mining venture with Hut 8. That's right. U.S. President Donald Trump's sons partner with Hut 8 to launch American Bitcoin. That's the name of the company, aiming to build the world's largest Bitcoin mining firm with strategic reserves. Major news. And there's also major news with a proposal regarding Bitcoin bonds in the United States purchasing $2.22 billion worth of Bitcoin, or 2.2 million Bitcoin. We'll dive into that next. But first, let's break this one down. As you can see on your screen, several members of U.S. President Trump's family are backing a new venture to launch what aims to become the world's largest Bitcoin mining firm. Hut 8, the digital asset mining and infrastructure company, announced March 31st today it's acquiring a majority stake in American Bitcoin, formerly known as the American Data Center. The firm was founded by a group of investors, including Trump's sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump. And as part of the deal, American Bitcoin will take ownership of the Hut 8's Bitcoin mining hardware. Donald Trump Jr. said the entrepreneurs behind American data centers have backed their conviction in Bitcoin personally and through their businesses. The new venture aims to become the world's largest, most efficient pure-play Bitcoin miner while building a robust strategic Bitcoin reserve, according to the announcement. Mining operations will remain under Hut 8's Commute segment and will operate through the American Bitcoin brand, according to Trump Jr. Quoting him here, "Mining it on favorable economic opens an even bigger opportunity. We are excited to bring investors into that equation through a platform engineered to execute on this thesis and deliver real, tangible participation in Bitcoin's growth." President Trump continues to promote pro-crypto policy as his family and affiliated companies expand their presence in the digital asset landscape. March 28th, he pardoned 3 co-founders of crypto exchange BitMEX, including Just Blaze, Arthur Hayes, which we covered here in the podcast. And on March 21st, the U.S. Treasury dropped the decentralized crypto mixer Tornado Cash from the sanctions list, invalidating related legal proceedings. And additionally, the SEC won't let me be and let CZ free. Please stack the BTC. All right. And Commission Division of Corporate Finance recently stated that meme coins do not qualify as securities under the U.S. law. And progress is underway on the creation of the National Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And on the commercial front, Trump launched his official Trump meme coin. His Trump Technology Group also announced partnership with Crypto.com, which is expected to support a new suite of crypto exchange-traded funds. That's right. They're launching their own ETFs. The Trump family has been involved in launching a decentralized finance protocol on Aave called World Liberty Financial, as well as introducing a new stablecoin named USD1. Let's not forget about the infamous Melania meme coin launch as well. So you can see Trump is heavily involved in crypto. Let's not forget multiple NFT launches as well. You know, remember the infamous mugshot collection? hilarious. But anyway, strategic shift for HUD 8. HUD 8 CEO Asher Janut recognized the launch of American Bitcoin as a pivotal evolution in the firm's strategy. He said that separating the mining business from the rest of the corporate activities would allow it to raise its own capital and align each segment of the business with its respective cost of capital. Quoting him here, it evolves HUD 8 towards more predictable, financeable, lower cost of capital segments and establishes American Bitcoin as a pure play mining platform built for the exahash growth, Bitcoin production, as well as operating leverage. The report follows HUD 8 surpassing 1 billion worth of Bitcoin holdings. Let's go. After acquiring 990 BTC for 100 million at the end of the year in 2024, and at the time the company's total Bitcoin mining stood at 10,096 BTC, acquired at an average price of 24,000 per Bitcoin equals winning, especially at today's price of 85. Now, Bitcoin mining revenue approached 3.6 billion in the first quarter of 2025 as industry income stabilized after the last halving. Recent data also shows the miners' revenue per unit of the hash power remained constant at around $48 per petahash per second, despite the mining difficulty increasing. So what are your thoughts on the Trump family following through with their word? Because as I shared earlier, remember in Nashville, Trump said he would make America the Bitcoin mining hub of the world. Well, it sounds like he's following through with his plan, and I'm glad they chose a reputable, already large, massive Bitcoin miner to get it done, because obviously they have the equipment, they have the knowledge, and really all the Trump's got to do is attach their name to it and make some more favorable laws, and all of a sudden they will become the largest Bitcoin miner in the world. So that's pretty major news. Max put here, this is good news for American Bitcoin miners, but the investment itself will underperform both Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. So he's saying it's good for the American Bitcoin miners, but expect Bitcoin and MicroStrategy to continue to outperform their new company for mining the Bitty. So what are your thoughts on all that? Do let me know. And I also mentioned there was some big news with the Bitcoin bonds right before I went live. I'm sure tomorrow there'll be a lot of stories printed around it, but here it is. Just in, Bitcoin Policy Institute releases a framework for the United States to buy 200 billion worth of Bitcoin using Bit bonds. And I'm just going to read you the framework. And like I said, by tomorrow, there'll probably be a ton of articles published about it, and we'll dive deeper into it. But as you can see here, Bitcoin enhanced treasury bonds operate similarly to conventional treasury securities, but with an embedded Bitcoin component that transforms their risk return profile. The U.S. Treasury would issue B bonds with a stated face amount and maturity, and unlike traditional bonds, all the proceeds go to the general funding. A fixed portion of the Bit bond, 10%, is used immediately to purchase Bitcoin for the Treasury's strategic Bitcoin reserve. The remaining majority of the proceeds, 90%, still finances government operations in the usual way. Figure 3, building the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And as you can see, under this structure, if 2 trillion worth of Bitcoin bonds were issued, roughly 20% of the 2025 refinancing needs, about 200 billion would be invested into Bitcoin, securing approximately 2.2 million BTC at an illustrative price of 90,000 per coin. And per the National Reserve, this allocation balances strategic Bitcoin exposure with conventional treasury functionality. So there you have it. Pretty little bitty going up forever, Laura. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know and I'll read your comments out loud. Welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.